Dad refused to walk me down the aisle because my sister, who once stole my scholarship moment, didn't want me in the attention. But he broke when he saw who stepped in. I stare at my phone, the wedding dress pooling around me like spilled cream. The screen glows with a message that destroys everything. Can't walk you down the aisle. Veronica's career celebration is too important to miss. I'll try for the reception. My father's words blur as tears flood my vision. The bridal suite spins around me, delicate crystal glasses on the vanity, my grandmother's veil draped across a velvet chair, bridesmaids frozen in various stages of preparation. The antique clock on the wall ticks mercilessly toward the ceremony. No, I whisper, then louder. No, no, no. With a strangled cry, I hurl my phone across the room. It hits the silk wallpaper with a crack and tumbles to the Persian carpet. My bridesmaids gasp in unison, Lily's lipstick tube suspended in midair, Rachel's mouth forming a perfect O. Abby, what happened? Rachel asks, taking a tentative step toward me. I can't answer, can't breathe. The room shrinks, walls closing in, my chest tightening until each heartbeat feels like a sledgehammer against my ribs. The 3-carat engagement ring weighs heavy on my finger, a promise about to be fulfilled while another lies shattered. The door swings open, and Patricia, our wedding planner, bustles in with her leather portfolio and perpetual efficiency. 2 hours until we need to line up, ladies, she stops abruptly, sensing the devastation. What's happening? My father. The words scrape my throat raw. He's not coming. Not coming. Patricia's professional composure cracks. But the ceremony? We planned everything around him walking you. Well, he's not. My voice sounds foreign to my own ears, brittle and sharp. My sister's happy hour is apparently more important than my wedding day. The words hang in the air, their truth more painful spoken aloud. The memory rises unbidden. Standing beside my mother's casket 18 years ago, my 12-year-old hand clutched in my father's as mourners filed past in a blur of black suits and lilies. I'll always be there for the important moments, Abby, he'd promised, his voice rough with grief. You and I, we're a team now. What a beautiful lie that had been. 10 months ago, when Connor and I had set the date, Dad had seemed genuinely excited. We'd sat at his kitchen island in Westchester, bridal magazines spread between us like blueprints for happiness, and he'd placed his weathered hand over mine. Nothing would make me prouder than walking you down the aisle, he'd said, eyes crinkling at the corners the way they used to when Mom was alive. For once, I'd believed him. The first warning sign came 4 months before the wedding, when Veronica called to announce her promotion celebration, scheduled for the exact same Saturday. It's just unfortunate timing, Dad had said during our Sunday dinner at his country club, pushing roasted Brussels sprouts around his plate. I'm sure we can work something out. The ceremony is at 3, I'd reminded him, my voice steady despite the growing pit in my stomach. Her event isn't until 7. You can easily make both. The drive between venues, he'd hedged, is nearly an hour with traffic. I'd checked. Dad, it's 35 minutes max. I drove it myself. He'd squeezed my fingers across the white tablecloth. Of course I'll be there, sweetheart. We'll make it work. 2 weeks later, the traffic might be terrible that weekend. Then, Veronica really needs family support for this promotion. Last week, I'm not sure about the timing, honey. I'd reassured him each time, rearranged what I could, offered to send my car service. Whatever it took to have my father walk me down the aisle like every little girl dreams. And now? 3 hours before I'm supposed to marry the love of my life? He sends a text message. A text message. We need to move forward, Patricia says, her voice gentler now. Is there someone else who could walk you down the aisle? An uncle, perhaps? Or would you prefer to walk alone? Alone. The word echoes in my head like a death knell. My phone rings from where it landed on the carpet. Lily retrieves it, hands it to me wordlessly. Uncle Benjamin's name flashes on the cracked screen. My father's older brother, the one who never missed a dance recital or graduation, who drove 4 hours to see me win the state debate championship when I was 16. I answer with trembling fingers. Hello? Abigail. His voice is warm, concerned. Your father just called me. I don't know what to say, sweetheart. A sob escapes before I can stop it. He's not coming, Uncle Ben. I know. The anger in his tone is barely contained, like thunder before lightning. And I'm furious with him. I close my eyes, tears tracking through my carefully applied makeup, leaving salt trails on my cheeks. I don't know what to do. Everyone's already here, the photographer is waiting. The silence stretches for only a heartbeat before Uncle Benjamin clears his throat. Would you allow me the honor of walking you down the aisle? Something breaks and rebuilds simultaneously in my chest. You'd do that. In a heartbeat. His voice cracks slightly. I'll be there in 15 minutes, Abby. Don't you worry about a thing. I end the call and look up at the circle of concerned faces around me, women who've stood by me through college heartbreaks and career changes, who took vacation days to be here, who spent their own money on bridesmaid dresses they'll probably never wear again. Something shifts inside me, a realization that maybe family isn't always who you're born to, but who shows up when it matters most. Uncle Benjamin is coming, I announce, standing straighter. He'll walk me down the aisle. And somehow, despite everything, I know I'll be okay. Uncle Benjamin's offer settles around me like Mom's old cashmere shawl, warm and protective. I stand straighter, feeling hope flicker to life in my chest like a match struck in darkness. The Vera Wang dress rustles as my bridesmaids exhale in collective relief. He'll be here in 15 minutes, I announce, my voice steadier than before. Lily approaches cautiously, her phone clutched in her manicured hand, mascara brush forgotten on the vanity. Abby, there's something you need to see. The hesitation in her voice makes my stomach clench like a fist. What is it? She holds out her phone, screen illuminated with a text conversation. Veronica sent these to me by mistake last month. I wasn't sure if I should show you, but now. I take the phone with trembling fingers, the diamond on my left hand catching the chandelier light. The texts are dated 3 weeks ago, when I was still believing in fairy tales. Veronica, Dad's still wavering about the wedding. Keeps talking about making it work. Lily, he promised Abby though, right? Veronica, don't worry. I know how to keep Dad focused on what really matters. Already working on it. Lily, Veronica, that's awful. It's her wedding day. Veronica, oops, wrong Lily. Delete this. Not for bridal party eyes. The room tilts sideways like a ship in a storm. I sink onto the tufted vanity stool, the screen blurring before me like watercolors in rain. I should have shown you sooner, Lily whispers, guilt etched across her face. I just couldn't believe she'd actually sabotage my wedding day. My voice sounds hollow in my own ears, like an echo in an empty cathedral. I can believe it. The memory rises unbidden. 5 years ago, standing in the auditorium at Stanford, scanning the crowd for my father's face as I accepted the Presidential Computer Science Fellowship. He'd promised to be there, had even texted that morning confirming he was boarding his flight from New York. But the ceremony came and went without him. Later, he'd apologized profusely, claiming a work emergency at his investment firm. It wasn't until months later that I discovered the truth through his assistant's innocent comment. Veronica had called, claiming I'd asked to reschedule his visit because I was too nervous to have him there. The pattern stretches back 18 years, to the raw days after Mom died. I was 12, devastated and adrift in a world suddenly too big and too empty. Veronica, at 15, had swiftly positioned herself as the lady of the house, orchestrating family dinners, managing Dad's calendar, and systematically creating distance between him and me. She's been doing this for years, I say, more to myself than to Lily. And he lets her. Rachel wraps an arm around my shoulders, her bridesmaid dress rustling like autumn leaves. Your dad is a fool, and your sister is worse than that. A knock at the door interrupts us. Patricia peeks in, her usually perfect chignon slightly disheveled. Mrs. Mitchell is here, Connor's mother. She's asking if she can see you. I nod, wiping hastily at my tears with the tissue box Patricia always keeps handy. Eleanor Mitchell enters moments later, elegant in her navy mother-of-the-groom dress, her silver hair swept into a classic chignon. Her eyes widen at my tear-stained face. Oh, Abigail. She crosses the room and takes my hands in hers, her wedding ring, worn smooth by 43 years of marriage, cool against my palm. Since Connor introduced us 3 years ago, Eleanor has shown me more maternal understanding than I've experienced since my mother died. She remembers how I take my coffee, asks about my work projects, sends care packages during my busy seasons at the tech company. I don't understand why he'd do this, I confess, the words catching in my throat like broken glass. Eleanor sits beside me on the small settee, still holding my hands. When I was 26, my father refused to attend my wedding to William. He didn't approve of my marrying into a family he considered beneath our social standing. Her voice carries the echo of old pain, carefully preserved like pressed flowers. I waited until the last minute, hoping he'd change his mind. Did he come? She shakes her head slowly. No. And for years after, I kept hoping for his approval, rearranging holidays around his schedule, making excuses for his absence at our children's birthdays, at William's promotion. Celebrations. Her fingers tighten around mine. This isn't just about today, Abigail. It's about whether you'll let them keep breaking your heart for the rest of your life. The truth of her words lands like a physical weight, settling in my chest with the finality of a closing door. How many times had I rescheduled important events to accommodate Dad's whims? How often had I swallowed disappointment when he cancelled at the last minute for something Veronica deemed more pressing? I think of my first dinner at the Mitchell family home in Greenwich, how William had pulled out my chair, how Eleanor had remembered my shellfish allergy from a casual mention months earlier, how their whole family had welcomed me with genuine warmth, showing me what real family support looks like. I've been chasing his approval my whole life, I whisper, the admission tasting bitter as black coffee. And what has it gotten you? Eleanor asks gently, her blue eyes reflecting decades of hard-won wisdom. Heartbreak. Disappointment. Empty chairs at every milestone. I straighten my shoulders, something resolute taking shape inside me like steel cooling in a forge. I won't let his absence ruin what should be the happiest day of my life. The grandfather clock in the corner shows 20 minutes until the ceremony should begin. 20 minutes to decide what kind of story today will tell, one of abandonment or of choosing happiness despite it. Benjamin will be here any minute, Eleanor says, standing gracefully. Shall I help you fix your makeup? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a text from Connor. Whatever you need today, I'm here. Even if that means waiting until sunset. I love you completely. Fresh tears spring to my eyes, but different ones. Tears of gratitude for the family I'm about to join, for the man who sees me clearly and loves me without conditions. I don't want to wait, I tell Eleanor, my voice gaining strength. This day isn't about who isn't here. It's about Connor and me and the people who chose to show up. Lily and Rachel exchange glances, relief evident on their faces like sunrise after the longest night. Patricia nods approvingly, already adjusting her timeline on her tablet. Have you ever had to choose between your own happiness and family expectations? I ask Eleanor as she gently dabs concealer under my eyes with the skill of someone who's comforted many tears. Many times, she replies, her smile both sad and wise. The day I stopped trying to earn my father's love was the day I truly began to live. The door opens 15 minutes later, and Uncle Benjamin stands there, slightly breathless in his hastily donned tuxedo, his salt and pepper hair neatly combed, his eyes finding mine with such pure love that my heart swells like a balloon. At that moment, I realize that family isn't determined by genetics alone, but by who stands beside you when the world falls apart. An hour later, after the chaos has settled and my makeup has been repaired, my phone vibrates against the marble vanity as the makeup artist applies a final dusting of powder. Dad's name flashes on the cracked screen, the same phone that delivered his devastating text this morning. I hesitate, finger hovering over the green button, then answer. Abigail. His voice crackles through the speaker, tight with something between guilt and irritation. You're making this difficult for everyone by refusing to postpone. Veronica worked incredibly hard for this promotion party. My throat tightens like a vice. Dad, we set this date 10 months ago. We sent save the dates last Christmas. And Veronica's celebration is important too. Why must you force me to choose? The makeup artist pauses, brush hovering near my cheek, pretending not to listen while clearly absorbing every word. I'd laugh if I wasn't so close to breaking. I didn't force you to choose anything, I whisper, voice fracturing. You did that all on your own. I end the call before he can respond, before I shatter completely in front of a stranger. The makeup artist wordlessly hands me a tissue, her eyes filled with the kind of sympathy reserved for kicked puppies. A soft knock interrupts the tense silence. The door swings open, and Uncle Benjamin stands there, transformed. In his hands, a small midnight blue velvet box that looks older than both of us combined. I smile and nod approval for him to enter, and he crosses the room in 3 long strides, enveloping me in a bear hug that smells like Old Spice and safety. "Look at you," he says, stepping back to survey my appearance. "Absolutely radiant. Your mother would have wept with joy." "Thank you for everything, Uncle Ben. I love you so much." The words feel inadequate for the gratitude swelling inside me like a tide. Nothing could have kept me away. His blue eyes, so much like Dad's but warmer kinder, crinkle at the corners. "I brought something for you." He opens the velvet box, revealing a strand of pearls with a delicate gold clasp. They glow with lustrous beauty against the dark velvet, each one perfectly matched. "These belonged to your grandmother Margaret. She wore them at her wedding in 1954, when she married your grandfather after he returned from Korea." My fingers hover over the pearls, afraid to touch. Something so precious. "Uncle Ben, I couldn't possibly." "You can and you will." His voice carries the gentle authority I remember from childhood's scraped knees and teenage heartbreaks. "My mother would have wanted you to have these. Your family, Abigail. Real family." Lily appears at the door and steps forward. "Let me help you put them on." As she fastens the clasp behind my neck, the door opens again. William, Connor's father, pokes his silver head inside. "Benjamin, I brought that boutonniere you requested." The 2 men exchange a glance loaded with unspoken understanding, the kind that passes between fathers who actually show up. William enters, patting Uncle Ben's shoulder before turning to me with grandfatherly warmth. "Abigail, everything's ready whenever you are." Connor's as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. His attempt at humor brings a genuine smile to my face for the first time today. "I just need a moment with my niece," Uncle Ben says, and something in his tone makes everyone else file out quietly, like they're leaving a sacred space. When we're alone, Uncle Ben guides me to sit on the antique love seat by the window. Afternoon sunlight streams through lace curtains, casting delicate shadows across our faces. "Abigail," he begins, hands clasped between his knees. "I need to tell you something about your father and me." My heart skips, wondering if there's more pain coming. When I graduated from Columbia Law School 40 years ago, our father refused to attend the ceremony. His voice grows distant, traveling back through decades. He wanted me to join his construction business. When I chose law instead, he saw it as betrayal. What? My eyes widen. Why didn't I know this? I waited at that ceremony, scanning the crowd for his face, just like you probably did at Stanford when you won that fellowship. Uncle Ben's gaze turns inward. He never came. My heart aches for the young man he'd been, cap and gown and nobody to cheer. "I'm so sorry." "Some men don't recognize what truly matters until it's too late," he continues, his lawyer's voice steady but gentle. "Our father realized his mistake years later, but we'd lost so much time by then." I touch the pearls at my throat, cool and smooth as river stones. "Did you forgive him?" "Eventually. But I never forgot who showed up that day instead." His fingers brush the necklace. "Your grandmother Margaret, wearing these pearls. She told me she was twice as proud, to make up for his absence." Patricia appears in the doorway, head set around her neck. "We're ready for the final walkthrough." Uncle Ben stands, offering his arm with courtly grace. "Shall we?" In the empty chapel, afternoon sunlight streams through stained glass windows, casting rainbow patterns across white satin aisle runners. The photographer adjusts her equipment, already planning different shots with Uncle Ben instead of Dad. "We'll start here," Patricia demonstrates from the back of the chapel, "then proceed at this pace, measured, dignified." Uncle Ben and I take our positions at the heavy oak doors. With each practice step down the aisle, something shifts between us, a bond strengthening, a silent understanding growing. His arm feels solid beneath my hand, his steps measured and sure, like he's been preparing for this moment his whole life. After our third walk-through, we pause at the altar where tomorrow Connor will be waiting. Tears I've been fighting all day finally spill over, but they're different now, cleaner somehow, like rain washing dust from windows. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Uncle Ben asks, thumb gently wiping my cheek. I'm afraid, I confess, voice barely audible over the chapel's perfect acoustics, that when I look back on today, all I'll remember is who wasn't here. Uncle Ben takes my hands in his wedding ring, 42 years married to Aunt Dorothy, catching the light. Then let's give you something beautiful to remember instead. He reaches into his jacket pocket, withdrawing a handkerchief with the initials LMP embroidered in the corner in delicate blue thread. Your mother's? I ask, recognizing the letters. He nods. Linda Marie Parker. She gave this to me before she passed, said someday you might need it. Seems that day has come. The simple cotton square with my mother's initials feels like a message across time, across the veil between worlds. I press it to my cheek, breathing in the faint scent of her favorite lavender perfume that somehow still clings to the fabric after all these years. Uncle Ben, I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to thank me, Abigail. His voice roughens with emotion. Family shows up. That's all there is to it. Behind us, the chapel doors open with a soft whoosh. Guests begin to arrive for the ceremony, murmuring quietly as they find their seats, their voices creating a gentle symphony of anticipation. Almost time, Patricia announces, checking her watch with practiced precision. Uncle Ben straightens his tie, the same navy silk one he wore to my college graduation. I have one question before we do this. What's that? Would your mother have approved of Connor? The question catches me off guard, but the answer comes immediately, rising from some deep well of certainty. She would have adored him. His kindness, his terrible dad jokes, the way he makes me laugh until my sides hurt. Then she's here too, Uncle Ben says simply, his voice carrying the weight of absolute truth. In these pearls, in that handkerchief, in your heart. The people who truly love us never really leave. I stand taller, feeling the weight of the pearls against my collarbone, the soft handkerchief tucked into my bodice like a secret blessing. The late afternoon light streaming through the windows seems brighter now, full of promise instead of shadows. I'm ready, I tell him, and for the first time today, I truly am. Uncle Ben offers his arm once more, steady as an oak tree. Then let's go make some memories worth keeping. As we take our position behind the closed doors, waiting for the string quartet to begin the processional, I realize something profound. The person who deserves to be called family isn't always the one you're related to. It's the one who shows up when it matters most. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, it's the one who helps you discover that your worth was never tied to someone else's presence anyway. The music begins, the doors open, and Uncle Benjamin walks me toward my future, not as a substitute for what I'd lost, but as exactly who was meant to be there all along.